So you wanna be a leader, huh? Well, the only way to be a leader is if you lead people to get things done, which means at some point you're gonna have to delegate work to others. Great leaders are great delegators. There's a famous leadership expert, John C. Maxwell. He once said, if you want to do a few small things right, do it yourself. But if you want to do great things and make a big impact, learn to delegate. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 6 tips that I've used countless times to effectively delegate work to teams for me for over the past 15 years.
A very long time.
A very long time.
I know, that's a long time. Let's get into it. Okay, you are probably watching this video because you are in a leadership position and you need to delegate work to other people. Makes sense? I got it. Or you've tried to delegate work and it keeps coming back and smacking you in the face. Ouch, that hurts.
Shocking.
If you've ever felt overwhelmed with tasks or if you're struggling to empower your team, then this video is for you. Follow these 6 tips that I'm about to give you and you'll be well on your way to becoming a master delegator. Tip number 1, which is to know what to delegate. You know, in looking at my task list this week, I have the following work that needs to get done. I have to write a script for 2 videos. I have to record an intro to a masterclass video. I have to talk to a client for an upcoming keynote speech. I have to create a postcard to advertise an upcoming event. I have to clean up the hashtags on a YouTube video, and on and on. Now, some of these tasks just cannot be delegated to anyone else. I have to do them. But there are a few that I could certainly delegate, you know, such as the postcard or the video hashtags. Famous management expert Peter Drucker, he once said, do what you do best and then delegate the rest. Ooh, I like the rhyme. Do what you do best and then delegate the rest.
Stop.
Okay, Tom, back to speaking. For me, writing content, recording videos, and delivering speeches is what I do best. So anything else on my list, I always want to try and delegate it to someone else. What kind of work do you do best? What kind of work are you doing that you could pass on to someone else? Take a moment to write out your full task list and then put an M for me, or I mean you, and a D for delegate next to each item. But it's not just enough to just be dumping the crappy work on someone else, though that will happen with delegation. It's also about finding tasks that offer developmental opportunities for your team. In our leadership program, Dance Floor Theory, we talk about this idea of X+1. It's where you find out what level of engagement someone's at and then you feed them one level higher. This would be an example of developmental growth. You know, according to Harvard Business Review, you know, the HBR one.
Oh, fancy, fancy.
Effective delegation can lead to increased productivity for both managers and their teams. So you and your team. Delegating appropriately increases job satisfaction and team performance. Look, I'm telling you, this is all backed by science. So now, once you know what to delegate, which is tip number 1, the next step is who should you delegate it to? Tip number 2 is all about playing to your employees' strengths. When I think about 2 people on my team, the first person's Sammy. Sammy is great with people. She loves to talk with them, build the relationships. She also loves to design, organize, and clean things up. Jay, on the other hand, is great with computers, coding, data, research, and video editing. So when I'm deciding what to delegate and who I should give it to, I want to make sure that I line up the work with their strengths. Otherwise, it's just going to be frustrating for both me and them. I would never ask Sammy to work on HTML stuff. And I would never ask Jay to design a gift for a client. Who are the people you are delegating to and what are their strengths? Once you have these lists, then match it up to your tasks and see who would be best to take on each task. The more aligned the tasks are with the strength of a person, the faster it's gonna get done with less frustration, more joy, and higher quality. And as a bonus to all of this, a study out of the Journal of Applied Psychology found that aligning tasks with employee strength leads to higher engagement and performance. Think of it as fitting the puzzle pieces perfectly together. So now that you've aligned the right task with the right person, we can move on to tip number 3, which is all about define the desired outcome. Now imagine your organization is a car. Well, you're in a car and you are typically the one who is driving. Or do you drive like this? But then all of a sudden you delegate the role of driving to someone else. What do you think the first question they're going to ask you? They're gonna ask you, where should I drive to? You see, it's not enough just to assign a task to someone else. You need to actually articulate what success looks like. Think of it as setting the GPS destination for your team. Boop, 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 boop. This means being specific about the results you expect, the standards to adhere to, and the time frame for completion. You know, there was a study done that emphasized that clear goals significantly improve task performance and satisfaction. Your employees want to win. Your team wants to win. They want to go home knowing they moved in the right direction. They want progress. They want to know that their work was on target. And you as the leader, yes, you as the leader, should help them to make it happen by clearly defining what success looks like in the project you delegate to them. I know, I can hear some of you saying or thinking, you know, wait a second, Tom, if I spend all of my time defining everything for them, why don't I just do it myself?
Yes, I should.
A fair point. And in the short run, you will win and save time and get it done sooner if you just do it yourself.
Exactly.
But in the long run, you will lose. If you successfully delegate work to your team that pushes them to grow, over time they will get better. Their growth means they will need less and less guidance from you in the future. Or they will be able to take on higher level tasks. In either case, you win. By now, you've picked the right task to delegate. You found the right person to give it to. You've clearly defined the outcomes for the task, but that's still not enough, which means we have to move on to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is to provide necessary resources and authority. Going back to my driving analogy. What is it? 10 and 4, 10 and 2, 10 and 2, hands at 10 and 2. Let's say you delegate the driving to someone else and you tell them where to go, but you don't give them the keys to the car and you also don't give them the code to unlock the navigation screen. They're gonna be stuck and nothing will get done. It's not enough to delegate. You've got to give your team the right tools. This means ensuring they have every necessary resource, information, and crucially, the authority to make decisions relevant to the task. If I delegate an HTML project to Jay on my team, I'm gonna make sure he has the login information for the website. He's gonna access to our style guide, and I'm also gonna make sure he knows I'm okay with him making changes that will go public on the internet. With this information and access, Jay will be able to do the work without having to ping me every step of the way. Hello, hello, hello. Studies have shown that providing the right resources and autonomy not only enhance task execution, but also it instills a sense of ownership and responsibility in your team. Again, backed by science.
Data. I need data.
You know, I trust Jay to do a great job, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hand the task to him and then never speak to him again until the very end, especially if I'm asking him to create a whole new website. Which brings us to tip number 5. Tip number 5 is we have to establish a communication rhythm and checkpoints. I know you trust your team and your people. Well, I hope you trust your team and your people. But the bigger the task you are delegating, the more checkpoints and communication you'll need to keep the project on track and done on time. No manager wants to micromanage, and no employee wants to get micromanaged. The rhythm of check-ins will be different for each team and for each teammate. Some people only need to talk with you once per week, whereas others might need to have a check-in several times throughout the week. So what you have to do is you have to tailor your approach to each team member's needs and complexity of the task. It's like a math equation. Let's see here. 2 + 2 divided by 4 equals apple pie. What? Huh? As executive coach Ken Blanchard said, none of us is as smart as all of us. This is especially true in delegation. Regular communication fosters collaboration, brings in diverse perspectives, and keeps everyone aligned towards that common goal. If you follow tips 1 through 5, you will be an amazing delegator. But for my last and final tip, number 6, it's less about a strategy for delegation and it's more of a cautionary tale about delegation. Tip number 6 is allow for the learning and patience. Delegation and mistake are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. By the way, I love peanut butter and jelly. Your people will make mistakes. This happens because remember, if you go all the way back to tip number 1, you should be delegating tasks to them that push them to learn and grow. My experience shows me that many times the tasks that I give them will be done at about 80 to 90% the level that I would have done it had I completed those tasks myself. I have to be okay with that. I am okay with that because by delegating the work, I freed up more of my time to do other work and my people took on the task that helped them to grow their own skills. In fact, you should clearly communicate that you know they might mess up and you're okay with that because you have full belief in them to learn, grow, and complete the task despite those mistakes that are going to happen. And you need to be patient with their learning and their growing.
Whoops.
However, I should point out that many times I do give my team tasks and they actually surprise me because they do it better than I would have myself because they're growing skills in areas that I'm not. And there you have it. With these 6 tips, you'll be a master delegator in no time. Master delegation involves more than just assigning tasks. It's about empowering your team, setting clear goals, providing resources, maintaining communication, and fostering a learning environment. Remember, delegation is a key component to leadership, helping you and your team grow together. So as a quick recap, here again are those 6 tips that I told you. Tip number 1, know what to delegate. Focus on your strengths and delegate the rest. Tip number 2, play to the employee's strengths. Delegate tasks that align with their team's skills. Tip number 3, define the desired outcome. Be clear with what success looks like with the task. Tip number 4, provide necessary resources and authority. Empower your team with the tools and autonomy. Tip number 5, establish a communication and rhythm checkpoint. Keep the lines open and don't micromanage. And lastly, tip number 6, allow for learning and patience. Remember mistakes as learning opportunities and they will happen. If you implement these 6 strategies or these 6 tips, you'll not only free up your own time, but you're also gonna build a capable, confident team. Remember, delegation isn't just about offloading your work, it's about fostering that growth and trust. So go ahead, delegate wisely and watch your team and yourself as a leader thrive. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button and connect with us on all the videos we share around leadership and success. My name's Tom. I'm here to help you to engage the people on your dance floor. I'll see you in the next video.